everyone. Thank you, Pedro, and everyone else for the invitation. This is my very first... Okay, no, I don't want to give myself a number now. Yeah, this is my very first keynote speech. I'm a little nervous, but I think I can do it, and I hope you guys will enjoy it. I've never seen this before, so I don't know how to do it. Help! Anyone? Sorry. Okay, so do I just...
Let me see if I can handle it. Huh? Is it on?
That's perfect.
Sorry for the technical problems.
Yes, here we are.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now we can start. Okay, so thanks again for the invitation. My name is Julia. I'm not the project assistant anymore. Since about half a year, I'm now the project coordinator. As you can see here, I put a picture of myself with a bubble speech. And yeah, today I'm going to tell you what we do in our project named Buntkicktgut, Intercultural Streetfootball Leagues Berlin, how we do it and where we do it. I'm going to try to focus on the subject of the integration of refugees. I like it that before it was said that both of these words, integration and refugees, I don't like to use them as much either, but yeah, you will see later why. Okay, first of all, what we do. We are a project that is focusing on children and youth in Berlin. We have a street football league in different age groups. I put U13, U15, U17 and ladies there. Those are our age groups. The under 13 years old, the under 15 years old. And then above 17, that's actually the league where we're trying to include as many teams from hostels and shelters as well. And then we have a ladies league as well, where the girls can kick just amongst girls, because that's a very important thing, especially in Neukölln, where we are working most of the time. A lot of girls, especially in the age between 13 and 17, as you can imagine, that's the time where you don't really want to get involved with the boys. You do, but you don't want to show it. And yeah, so we have an extra league for them, and we're very happy because we have a lot of girls who are getting involved in the organizational part. I'll get to that later. Unfortunately, there's not as many girls who actually play football. In the youth centers, you have 2 or 3 girls who play or would like to play, but it's not as many, so that the social workers actually give a regular offer to them, like a training or something like that. So today the girls were supposed to play at a tournament, a big one, and then there were only 3 registered teams, 1 cancelled, and today the other one cancelled, and then we only had our girls, and now they couldn't play at all. Really sad. Anyways, we're hoping to get that going more, and yeah, I put those other pictures here that you can see. Fair play is very crucial in the project, because when you have a lot of players from different backgrounds, of course it gets a lot emotional and everything, so fair play is very important. Be respectful, shake hands before the game, shake hands after the game. And you can see the stickers. Those are the fair play points, actually. So each team that participates in the tournament gets a fair play point, and 3 actually, and they can give that to the other teams according to how fair they thought they were. And the other numbers that you can see behind the stickers, those are the fair play points that are given away by the referees. So also the referees are giving fair play points after each game to the team that they think played fair. And then underneath you can see the table of the U17. it's a very long table because we have a lot of teams there since we've opened it up to shelters and hostels for newcomers. I call them newcomers, not refugees. And yeah, so within the tables, it's like in the Bundesliga, the Champions League. You can always follow your team and see how many points have we collected and where are we in the table, how many do we need to get to the next level, etc. So that's something where they really can identify with the league as well. And then the prizes and incentives. Here you can see the awards of our winter league. Of course, we, as a social project, you don't really get a lot of money. And so our prizes are very small most of the times, unfortunately. But it's about the fun factor as well. But sometimes the kids really complain. So, yeah, what? Only that small? Just a paper, but yeah, what can we do? We're giving our best. And sometimes we're lucky and we can offer them a trip to another town or to a Hertha game or something if we have nice sponsors. Okay, so another very important point or part of the project is the youth participation. Without the youngsters and the kids, we wouldn't exist. As I just said, I was an assistant before. I had a colleague until June last year. Then he quit, and I was alone. I was basically the only adult with an education in the project, or an academic education. I've worked before. The young man that you can see on the picture on the above left, that's Nimmer. He's 27 years old. He's worked in social work for 9 years. He doesn't have an like a certificate in social work, so he hasn't been to university yet, but he's been working there forever, and he's so good with the kids. So they really respect him, and they laugh with him, and it's the perfect person for the job. So we were the adults in the project, and the rest was just the kids. And I put street football work there. That's one of the main parts. It's basically that kids from the kiez, from the area, they themselves are the trainers of their own teams. So either they form the teams with their younger brothers or cousins or the kids that they know from the area, or they go to youth centers that they may be going anyways every day, and there they know, okay, these girls want to play football, so I train them once a week. And then they go with these teams together to the tournaments that I just showed you from the Street Football League. So they get the idea of being a responsible person, like a teacher or a social worker or a bigger brother or sister, and they learn what it means to be responsible for a group and what it means to be on time, because he wants or she wants the kids to be on time too, and etc. So it's like a self-fulfilling thing. As soon as they get the responsibility and they have the job, they do it, or they have to do it, because they want to be successful and they themselves want to see their team in the table on the top, of course. So yeah. Then we have referee training in Germany, or I'm sure that you have it in the countries that you come from too, in some at least. At schools, some kids can be crisis manager, Streitschlichter in German. It means if two other students have a fight, then they learn how to solve this fight. It's actually looked at from the other students, basically very nerdy, and most of the times these kids are very, frowned at or laughed at. But being a referee is really cool. And so we use the referee training to get the ones, especially the ones who are fighting the most, give them a job, teach them how to actually look out for other troublemakers, and then teach them how to solve these troubles themselves. It sounds very easy in theory. It's not very easy in praxis, but yeah. With some it has worked, and I think even if you get one person out of trouble, it's even a success. Yeah, and then we have the Jugend Orga team. I didn't know how to put it in English, organizational crew team. and the tournament managers, and they help me or themselves to organize events, trips to other cities, even excursions or anything that has to do with paper and not with kicking a ball, because they might not be willing or able to do it. Like myself, I don't know how to play football at all. So I stick behind the laptop and do the other work that they can't do. And the tournament management means they invite the teams, they tell them where it's happening, they welcome them, they explain the rules, they do the whole plan of games, and then they evaluate, etc. So even for the ones that are just the football heads and like to watch football and are passionate about it but don't want to play, even they can have a job at Buntkicktgut, like myself. Okay, and now we get to the point. That's our new project. It's called Open Football. It's a working title. It's a cooperational project with Give Something Back to Berlin. That's another really cool project or organization that many of you probably know. Very cool people. And together we came to the idea that a lot of volunteers are very willing to get involved in the whole football thing, sports, integration through sports, working with newcomers to Berlin, because they are newcomers too, all together and kicking some balls, you know, training and having fun. Pedro is one of them. Hello. And yeah, together we started this spring. In February or March was the first tournament, and the team here in orange is just it's Team Samo. It's a team of newcomers, refugees, who won the first tournament. They were really happy. And then now the bad boys that you can see on the, who's kicking the ball right there, they are actually on the second place of our whole table right now. They're really good and they're really eager, and maybe they will even win the whole season. So that has been going really well. In the last tournaments, we've had 5 teams from Berlin and 5 teams from shelters and hostels. So everyone was kicking together, and then if one team didn't have enough players, then they just mixed up, and it was really a good atmosphere most of the times. Then we've also just started with doing trainings in Tempelhof, the Notunterkunft Tempelhof. You can see Sufjan, he's pointing next to Nimmer, who's assisting him, because Nimmer has been doing trainings with kids most of his life. So Buntkicktgut gives support and advice to Sufjan, who lives or used to live in Tempelhof himself and knows a lot of kids there. And he's come to us and asked us, can we not do trainings there? I really want to do it. And we've been thinking about it anyways, and we've been in touch with the people from there. But through Sufjan, we could really get things going, and it was a lot easier. And that's the self-initiative that you guys were talking about earlier. The ideas and the activities that come from the people themselves mostly are the most successful ones, because the way we thought it would be in the beginning didn't really work out, and now we only just now see what else we can do, and people are coming to us rather than we coming to them and giving them or offering them things they don't really want. But I'll get to that later. So we just started that, and also Mohammed, he's on the third from the left, in the orange team. He also just came to us and now wants to train a under-13 team in his hostel in Friedrichshain, which is really cool. And then another player just came to us and said he doesn't want to play anymore, he wants to be a referee. So now on Sunday he's going to be the first refugee referee of our league, which is also very nice. So it's coming. And then also we do educational workshops for people who want to do trainings. We give them tips and tricks and advice, this time from Jan, my colleague from Munich. We have different countries, but cities in Germany where we do Buntkicktgut, and in Munich it has been there for almost 20 years, and Jan is the refugee coordinator in Munich, and they have I think, at least 20 trainings per week in refugee shelters. Yeah, so he has a lot of experience, and he shared that with us a few weeks ago in a workshop, and we learned a lot. Okay, so how do we do it? I put together this nice diagram. It took me forever. So I basically just explained what we do, but now it's in 2 colors. So on the one hand, we have the Berlin youth and kids who do the street football work, SFW, with younger kids, and in youth centers and parks, and on these, I'm sure you've seen those, the pitches between the houses with the small goals or something. They're called Bolzplätze. They're free, so everyone could just go and kick. And they're very popular in Berlin especially, and they just go there and do their trainings there. And on the other side, we have the newcomers or refugees, young refugees in particular, or young adults. And they either do the training themselves with another street football worker from Buntkicktgut, or we have volunteers like Pedro who also go into shelters and do the trainings. And then on both sides, we have the teams, and they come together in the street football league. So we have one league that's for everyone. So also, like I think you also said it, it's not a project just for one type of people. It's for everyone, and it just goes together, because football is just kicking together. And that makes a lot more fun than kicking on your own. So yeah, basically the league is the spine of the whole thing. It's the skeleton, and it's where everything comes together. And then the rest is just the flesh that goes around it. And sometimes it's a bit itchy, or it hurts because it's not working very well. But we still have that league, and that's what holds things together. And that's the whole concept of the project. Also, the networking is a very, very, very important part of how we do it. I put Give Something Back there very big, because through them we've met a lot of people who are very interested and motivated and passionate about supporting us. And then I put on the left-hand side Lessinghöhe, Nachbarschaftsheim Neukölln. Those are 2 youth centers that are also very supportive. And I don't know how many teams they both have, but a lot. And Neukölln Jugend.de, that's the Neukölln, the office for the youth. And they have a big network of all the youth centers and clubs and initiatives that do stuff for the kids and younger people in Neukölln. And then, of course, donations and funding. That's that nice subject that nobody wants to talk about, but it's very, very important. The Sky Stiftung and the Hypo Vereinsbank, they look very, very good on there. They are very good to us, or they have been through the past years. But especially to Munich, to Buntkicktgut in Munich, I've just said it's really big there and very successful. But in Berlin, we are always dependent on what we get from Munich. So we are not, we're not standing on our own feet yet. So we get funding we got funding from the Jugenddemokratiefonds and the Globus Stiftung as well, but not from the city itself. So we are very dependent on what we get from our partners in Munich. It's like we get donations from our older brother. But it's okay. At least we can do something. And then also, of course, and I don't know what I would do without it, social media. It's the one and only way how we can connect with the kids, especially WhatsApp. Also, Facebook is a very nice means of putting up the pictures where they can like and share. Also, people who are new to Germany, they can simply click one button and share it with all of their friends that are maybe spread all over the world. It gives them maybe the opportunity of sharing new experiences that they haven't had in a long time, and also just to identify themselves better with their team, with themselves, with Germany, with coming to Berlin. And yeah, I've seen that a lot of people have contacted us through Facebook, commenting in whatever language, and WhatsApp is also a very important way because, or communication tool, because many have German SIM cards, but no money on it, so they need internet, and when they have internet, then they can talk and chat. And even if it's just, how are you? I'm fine, how are you? Are you coming to the tournament on Sunday? Yes, cool, looking forward to it, cool, me too. That's cool, and it's not very long, it's not very time consuming, but it's very effective. And it's really nice for both sides, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback, also negative one, but then if I get it, then I know of it, and then we can try to change it as well. For example, oh, the pitch is too small. I can't change that, but maybe for the next season we can try to find a bigger pitch so the players are happy. Okay. Do you have questions so far? Otherwise, I'll do them at the end. Okay, at the end. Where do we do it? Within Germany, we have, as I briefly mentioned before, a few cities that we are active in. The oldest one is Munich since 1997. They started with refugees coming from the Kosovo mainly. They had a lot of shelters there, the Bayern-Kasernen, and they actually just started with trainings, and then they realized, wow, we have a lot of teams, why don't we do regular tournaments? And that's when the league started to build up. And even the kids that were playing in that league in 1997, 98, 99 are now the adults that work at the project and have their own teams with even their kids, etc. So in Munich, it's a huge, big family, and it's really nice. In Berlin, we have Buntkicktgut since 2013, and we've been to other partners all over Germany for a lot of times, and friendships have been built. I hear a lot of times, yeah, he's coming to Berlin, I'm going to Munich, we're going on holidays together, etc., etc. So it was a good chance for kids to get out of Berlin, get out of their neighborhood, see other places. Maybe they've never been to other towns in Germany before. And we're hoping to also open that up to people that only just got to Germany, depending on their permits of traveling within Germany. We'll see about that. Within Berlin, as I said, Neukölln is our hotspot. We also have now trainings in Tempelhof and Kreuzberg and Wedding. The dots that are not filled yet are the prospective ones in the shelters in Friedrichshain and Lichtenberg. And of course, we're hoping to one day conquer Berlin and everything is orange. We'll see, depending on the financial and personal resources. Yes, so what is the way forward? I quickly put together that slide, so I'm not sure if it makes sense. We have a lot of ideas and plans and ambitions. We see how many we can actually fulfill, but in summer we want to have a summer program for whoever is here. And then definitely in winter, when the school starts again, we will have a winter league again, and the league means at least every 2 weeks, each age group has a tournament day. So we do it mostly on the weekends, because that's when the people are free. And yeah, that's the plan for now. Then, of course, get more kids, more partners to participate in the whole thing, make the league bigger, more interesting, more attractive to the kids. Also involve more partners, as has been said before. There are a lot of initiatives that I just recently got to know that are doing similar things, not exactly the same things, but similar, and it's very interesting and very exciting how we can actually get together and do more stuff together. And then what you can see on the bottom is the challenges. I'm not sure, maybe you can quickly take a minute and try to think what each of these symbols might mean and which challenges we have to tackle on our way. Okay. I have a list. Okay, so first of all, the speech bubble. What might that mean? It's the language barrier. It's really heavy. Because you talked about racism before. At one tournament, we had a really eager trainer of a team from Tempelhof. Apparently, he was the leader of referees in Syria. I had no idea. For us, Buntkicktgut is a very basic program. The referees are kids from Neukölln. They just, it's a hobby for them. They just say foul and out. It's not that they just say it, but they do mistakes, a lot of mistakes, because they're kids. And the trainer was probably expecting something a lot more professional. In the end, he was very loud and very aggressive. He took one of the kids who was actually from Syria himself, and he called him a racist in his language. I only understood that later when somebody translated it to me, but that was something that I would have liked to talk to him about, of course, but I couldn't, because I don't speak Arabic. And I couldn't speak through other people because he was shouting most of the time at the translator, and I didn't really have the chance. And I felt bad for the translator because he was between the two sides, and there was no way of solving the problem in that situation. But no worries. I met him again at Tempelhof, his shelter, and we had a really good talk, and we hugged in the end. So everything was fine. It was just in the heat of the moment. But of course, that was really something that I would have loved to solve in that moment, and I still want to talk to him about it, or in general. But the language barrier is a big, big, big problem. Even though football is a language that everyone understands, there's still, especially topics like this, that need to be addressed. So if I can't speak Arabic in 3 months, then we need to find another solution. If you guys know any, help me. Okay, then the euro sign means finances. I just said it. It's not very easy to get money to be paid for the time that you invest in this project. Also for especially the volunteers, they need a lot of attention. They have a lot of questions. Even at 12 o'clock at night, I'm sitting there on my WhatsApp and I'm chatting to them. And of course, a lot of time is okay to spend because it's my passion as well. But it's about the sustainability of the project. So I don't know what's going to happen when I'm sick or on holidays. Who's going to do my job? We need someone who's there and who we can rely on, and that's what we need the finances for. Then this one I took for rules and regulations, especially in the shelters and hostels. Of course, there are a lot of rules and security standards, so it's not very easy to get the teams out of the shelters and get them to some other places. You need to have a lot of documents to prove that you're not a criminal, for example. And also you need the approval of the parents to take the kids out. But you need to make sure that the parents understand what you're doing with their kids. So yeah, the rules and regulations is also an issue. Then the clock is the time, of course. The volunteers need the time to do their jobs. The refugees need the time or have time at the same time as the volunteers. And also for people like me, I don't always have the time to work for the project or be there when it's really important. Then the availability. What was that? Yeah, the phone, of course, communication. I said that it's really easy through WhatsApp and Facebook, but of course, the language barrier is there on WhatsApp and Facebook too. So I just got a text, for example, from Sufyan, who you've seen on the other picture, and I really don't understand what he's trying to tell me, even though his English is really good. So I don't know, about the information he's trying to give me. And then this is reliability of volunteers, because volunteers do their jobs not paid. So of course they have their own lives as well. The players themselves, the kids, because they're young, and if there's a barbecue at the hostel, then of course they don't come to the tournament, and they might even say all the week, yeah, of course we're coming, and then you stand there, and then it's like, no, we stay here, okay, and you kept your Sunday free to go to the tournament, and they just don't want to come anymore, and that's again a vicious circle for the volunteers, because of course if it happens a lot of times, then they keep losing interest and trust. And then the tier is for emotions, feelings, both for the players and also of course for the ones involved with the whole situation. As I just said, the situation that happened with the trainer, who really screamed and was very aggressive. He actually took the referee and shook him. And I mean, for me, it was a really heavy situation because I didn't understand what he was saying. The referee understood it, but it's not nice to be shaken and screamed at. And that comes out sometimes, and even between the players. And then it's also something that has to be addressed by us and the volunteers, and everyone has to be trained and sensitive about it. So yeah, these are the challenges that we have to face, but with teamwork and willpower and all the fun that we can have together through football, I'm sure that we still have some very nice moments in front of us, and that we can do it. And there will always be difficulties and always challenges, but I'm sure, especially through events like this, where you can share and hear that not only you are suffering, but also other people have their difficulties. Geteiltes Leid ist halbes Leid, that's what you say in German. Sharing is caring. I think we can really make it work. Okay, so thank you for your attention.
We still have time for 2 questions maximum, so I would like to ask if someone wants to ask something for Julia, and if yes, please identify yourself. Okay.
Hello, my name is Saud. First of all, thank you very much. I think we all agree what you're doing is amazing. You mentioned the language barrier. So if you have a language barrier, how do you communicate with them?
Most of them really, some speak some words of German and or English, especially can see many Afghani people speak German and the Syrians speak English. But then if you have a team, at least one person of the team has some better knowledge of either German or English. And that's the one that we pick, or I pick, and communicate with. And then also, I'm very lucky because Nimmer and Jonas from our project, they speak Arabic. So I'm very lucky because they can just translate and I can trust them. I know that they would always translate whatever I want to say. And they translate it back to me. At least that's Arabic. For Farsi, we have a problem because we don't know anyone who speaks Farsi. But for example, when we put the info posters in Tempelhof, we could just give something back to Berlin to translate it for us in Farsi, and they have a huge network, and we know that we can always count on them. So if there is really a very big issue that we have in a language that nobody in the project speaks, then we have our partners from Give Something Back to Berlin. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Cool.
Is there any other question? Here.
Hi, my name is Emery. So I think your initiative is really cool, and I think it gets the people out of the shelter and gets them moving. I have a question more on like the longer effect it has. Like, how much do they get in contact really with the non-refugee children, and do they go beyond just the first contact? Like, do they really meet people and hang out afterwards? Because I've heard from other sports initiatives that, well, they play together, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering, well, yeah, what it's like with you.
Since we only just started and we've had 4 tournaments so far, I can only say that most of them are only on the first base. So it's actually just like you said, it's just playing together. But we're hoping that, because I've seen that and I'm very aware of it, but I'm hoping that through the process that I've just talked about them coming to us, wanting to do trainings, or being a referee, they have to also come to the meetings that we have with the kids anyways, with the other trainers, with the other street football workers, with the other referees. And that's when we can mingle. And also when we do trips to other cities, for example, we have a workshop in Munich coming up in 2 weeks, and I really would like to send at least Sufyan and maybe also Mohammed to come to the workshop, and that's when they all meet. We're not going to be able to immediately mix up all the teams, because it's, as I said, five teams. It's 30, 50 people with the Berlin people, but they talk to each other at the tournament, and then I hope that soon when we do like maybe a summer fest or something, or during the summer program, that we might get a step further. But we can't force it. We can just use or work with the ones that are wanting to be more involved and are actually showing the motivation as well. Yeah, so we have to keep our eyes open and pick out the ones and see it. Yeah, that's our job.
Thank you very much, Julia, once more for your talk. I believe it was very interesting. So I would please ask for more applause, and also to announce that we will have a break of 10 minutes. So please try to be on time, right? So thank you very much, Julia.
Thank you.